Lorna Jane fined almost $40,000. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.Heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Got my morning stein of coffee, and I thought we'd have a look at some recent news regarding activewear and clothing brand Lorna Jane. If you're not familiar with it, we'll jump over here. It's a gym wear brand for women. They've got shops all around Australia, internationally, and they're the feminist story of success. We've actually worked with Lorna Jane. Rachel's done about 60 of their shops all around Australia, and some even overseas. We've got, we did their work for about a year or 2 years. Rachel did a lot of work, a lot of late nights. It's an interesting organization. I think they only had about 3 men or 4 men working in there. Lorna's husband doesn't even have a Lorna Jane email. And often, when I do a stint at Uber, I'd be, these young women go, "Oh, we love Lorna Jane, yada, yada, yada." And I go, "Oh, have you heard of her husband?" I don't know he exists. He's the real driving force behind a lot of it. You see him on the 60 Minutes reports and all these other things when people are critical of their organization. Let's just say none of what 60 Minutes are saying surprises me in the slightest. They're very tough to work for. They're a high-maintenance client, and, well, they constantly demand better deals, better prices, and your contract's only worth what you're willing to pay to enforce it. And, which can create a power dynamic between a larger business, multimillionaires, and a small little family operation. So there's part of the reason why we're not working for them anymore. It's just the way it is. It's the lessons you learn. And, the more experience I've got in business, the more I've realized you really have to have what people say is the FU money to just, not deal with a lot of the BS with some of these bigger brands. Because, retail's, it's exciting, but, it looks pretty, looks fast, but just the fees you can earn are nothing, really. They're nothing. Particularly with a big brand like that. And so, it was good. We got some good work in the folio. But, if you're looking at doing work from you, looking at subby tendering on stuff, get everything in writing. Get it all in writing. Because, let's just say some of the tricks the project managers played on some of the builders there, I really lost a lot of respect for the brand because of that. But anyway, let's have a look at this media release. So the Therapeutic Goods Administration media release. Lorna Jane fined almost $40,000 for allegedly advertising breaches in relation to the pandemic and antivirus activewear. This just seems like woo-woo trying to take advantage of people's... take advantage of the climate that we're in. It seems pretty disgusting, really. From a brand like this, a big brand, sure, they're tough on their subbies. They're tough on their subbies. They're tough on their consultants. Lorna's husband wants to, ex-builder, cheap. Pain in the ass to deal with. That's given. Lots of clients are like that, guys. That's the way it is. Like Trump, you read his book, you hear the stories of him. He would have been a bastard of a client. That's the way it is. But taking it to another step, this type of rubbish, antivirus activewear, wow. The Therapeutic Goods Administration, part of the Department of Health, today issued 3 infringement notices totaling $39,000 to Brisbane clothing company Lorna Jane for allegedly unlawful advertising in relation to the pandemic. They allegedly claimed on its website that its antivirus activewear prevents and protects against infectious diseases, implying it's effective against the pandemic. See, here's the thing. The stupid will rush out and buy this stuff and think, wow, I'm being protected. Is this any different to any other woo-woo? Do you want the government to step in and take care of people like this, or do people need to learn the hard lessons? There's the question. But if it's in something with regards to a spreading illness, well, you don't want people running around thinking their activewear is stopping them from getting ill. This kind of advertising could have detrimental consequences for the Australian community, create a false sense of security, and lead people to become less vigilant about hygiene and social distancing. I don't know, Professor. I don't think you need to worry about the soccer mums in there, Lorna Jane, worrying about social distancing. I think they're going to keep away from all those dirty prawls. The TGA alleges that Lorna Jane represented its antivirus activewear for therapeutic use and therefore believed that it is a therapeutic good within the meaning of the Therapeutic Goods Act 1989. Therapeutic goods, including advertising, are subject to the regulations administered by the TGA. The advertisement referred to the therapeutic goods that were not included in the Australian Register of Therapeutic Goods. This is required before they can be lawfully supplied or advertised in Australia. So they didn't know what they were doing. They didn't know what they were doing. I'm sure. Their clothing designers probably wouldn't have any idea about this. You think their lawyers would go through it and check it all, wouldn't you? Under the Therapeutic Goods Act 89, any reference to the pandemic and related terms in the promotion of these types of goods are restricted representations. A restricted representation refers to a serious form of a disease, condition, ailment, or defect. The use of restricted representations in advertisement for the therapeutic goods is unlawful without a prior formal approval or permission from the TGA. It is also a breach of the TGA, or Therapeutic Goods Advertising Code No. 2, 2018, to promote a therapeutic good as being safe, harmless, or without side effects. These advertisements are of significant concern given the current pandemic. The TGA has published a warning to advertisers and consumers about illegally advertising relating to the pandemic. The TGA takes action against advertising breaches. The regulatory scheme is critical for the safety of Australian consumers, and the TGA investigates suspected illegal activity in relation to therapeutic goods, a range of compliance and enforcement processes. There we go. So, what do you think? Nearly 40 grand to them. Let's have a look at how the media is looking at this. We'll jump over here to this article from the Sydney Morning Herald. So Lorna Jane forced to rebrand clothing line spurred as antivirus. I mean, here's the thing. You can have fabrics that can have, antibacterial properties to resist the growth of bacteria. And we spec them in a lot of hospital projects, particularly the shower curtains and those type of things. That exists. I don't know if you'd want to wear it, though. Popular activewear brand Lorna Jane has been forced to rebrand a new clothing line. It's spruiked as antivirus after a leading medical expert said the Australian company was exploiting people's fears over the pandemic. What do you think? Do you think people are stupid enough to fall for it? Maybe, yeah. Lorna Jane launched its exclusive technology, LS Shield, earlier this month. A range of leggings and tops it promised would protect wearers from viruses and germs. How? LS Shield? Wow. I mean, they were doing quite well in business. They were expanding in the US when we were talking. That's why we got in here on this train stuff. There, other people were helping them push out in the US. There was talks of investors coming in to buy up. Why are they doing this? Or is this just them responding to the market, trying to get something on, and we're seeing how quick it takes, the fastest they can get something on? Because nothing's manufactured here, guys. It's all brought from China. It is applied as a water-based, non-toxic mist and permanently adheres to our garments. Any bacteria that comes into contact with the fabric is terminated when it comes in touch with the LJ Shield particles, the company website said. Okay, so they're having an antibacterial treatment on their clothing. The LJ Shield breaks through the membrane shell of bacteria or germs that come into contact with it, not only killing the microbe, but preventing it from multiplying into any more. Okay, so, I mean, this is a treatment you can have on other products. I would be shocked. I would be utterly shocked if Lorna Jane actually has the patent to something special, or they're just branding it. I mean, maybe they would. Maybe they're getting into that. I'm sure the 90 women they have working in there are all scientists. Sure of it. But by Thursday morning, the company's website had been edited to remove all mentions of the word virus, and because a bacteria and a virus aren't the same thing, are they? And a company spokeswoman confirmed the range was now being referred to as antibacterial. We started working on this technology at the start of the year. When we named it, we didn't want to mislead anyone, she said. You know. So now it's antibacterial. So, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Their fashion designers didn't know the difference between a virus and a bacteria. What do you reckon? You think that's it? Would that surprise you guys? You know? We're not trying to profiteer our bullshit in any way around the fear of the pandemic because we were developing this and working with our partners before the outbreak. Yeah, right. You're doing it in January. It was already well happening in China. And you've got connections in China. You import all your products from China. Of course you knew. Seriously. Our testing shows that LJ Shield is an important part of stopping the spread of both bacteria and viral infections, and should be used in combination with other precautionary measures such as face masks and a thorough and frequent hand washing. Oh, come on. Leggings? Seriously? Dr. Harry Nespolon, president of the Royal Australian College of General Practitioners, which called the company out on Wednesday for peddling false claims, said it was vital consumers listen to health experts and not clothing companies. Yeah, well, to be honest, yes. Well, no, it's vital that we have enough education in our population. You know, all this money we're spreading in bloody spending on education revolution, this and this. So 1, people get a basic understanding of finance. 2, people get a basic understanding of economics. 3, people get a basic understanding to identify woo-woo. Activewear is great for the gym, but it can't protect you against viruses or bacteria, he said. I suspect Lorna Jane is cynically trying to exploit fears concerning the pandemic to sell clothes. If you spray their product onto any fabric and expect that it will act as a shield of protection for you to break through, by breaking through the membrane shell of any toxic diseases, I have some bad news for you. This will not happen. The only thing that will be terminated by the shield particles is the money in your bank account. I mean, a water mist on it, spraying it. I can't say I'm surprised. I can't say I'm surprised. The Therapeutic Goods Administration confirmed it was investigating whether the Lorna Jane range qualified as a therapeutic goods. Well, we've seen that, haven't we? With some exceptions, claims that a product can prevent infection with the pandemic or other microorganisms that can cause illness are therapeutic use claims, and the result is the product being a therapeutic good and therefore subject to therapeutic goods regulation, it said. In April, former celebrity chef Peter Evans was fined $25,000 by the TGA for marketing a $15,000 light-frequency machine called a biocharger that purportedly could treat the pandemic. The claim the TGA found had no apparent foundations. A Perth doctor was also found $37,000 for allegedly unlawfully advertising of therapeutic goods in relation to the pandemic on his website. The item was not included on the register. So it could have been a good that could have worked, but it may not have been included on the register. So here's the thing. You've got the register, you've got the government stepping in to mitigate and manage this process. Because, well, we can all see... What would you rather? Would you rather the government comes in and steps in to mitigate this? Or you make it harder for people, people can produce content critical of this and assess it, and harder for them to take action against you. Like what old Thunderfoot's doing in his debunking videos. Let's have a look at what news.com.au is saying about the same thing. 40 grand overclaims its fabric could help kill viruses. So do you think this is an intentional mistake, or the fact that people don't know the difference between virus and bacteria in marketing? I mean, it's marketing, guys. It's marketing. I think they wouldn't know the difference, to be honest. I really think marketing people wouldn't know the difference. Maybe it's just the stereotype of dumb people working in marketing, but maybe I've been reading too much Dilbert. Popular activewear brand Lorna Jane has been fined $40,000 for allegedly advertising breaches in relation to the pandemic and antivirus activewear. Yep, so this is the same thing. Same thing here. What do you think, guys? What do you think? Antivirus spray on their fabrics is another form of protection in a post-pandemic world. Wow. A spokesman told News.com Lorna Jane began developing new practices 2 years ago to solve the issues around germ contamination for their customers. It's not what they said in the other thing. In a sense, probably marketing just hit it on January. In a sense, you could be touching someone's armpit or groin without garments worn, so close to the body we knew we had to do something better. The company said the technology, which comes from Taiwanese company Fuse Biotech, has also been used in gyms in the US to spray on hard surfaces. The company said they weren't trying to claim the clothing was a cure for the pandemic. Okay, see, there you go. It's not even their tech. It's not even their tech. We're not saying LGJ Shield will stop you coming into contact with bacteria. We are saying it is added protection like hand sanitizer, but for your clothes you wear. The technology is in the final stages of being granted FDA approval and is undergoing quality tests by local authorities. With everything that is transparent with the pandemic, we deemed it necessary to speed up the release of this technology to our customers. Speed it up. All for your own good. All for your own good. But the claims have been dismissed by the president of the Royal Australian College of General Practitioners, who said Lorna Jane is engaging in wishful thinking. The latest active wear is great for a workout. Yeah, he said this before. If activewear was the answer, I would be handing this clothing out to my patients every way, but I don't think that's going to happen. It stops the spread. Odor control, hyper-evaporate. I mean, we know the demographic of this clothing line, guys. There's going to be a lot of hypochondriac women that will easily be, suckered into this stuff. Easily be suckered into this stuff. Who probably don't know the difference between a virus and bacteria. So yeah, I'm sure they did it for their own good. I'm sure they did it for their own good. What do you all think, everyone? What do you think? Is this the case for why we need state intervention? Or people just have to learn the hard way not to fall for woo-woo? What do you reckon? What do you reckon? You a fan of Lorna Jane? Have you worked with them on their projects? Do you buy all their clothing? Did you know that, it's not just her, Lorna all by herself? As always, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and want to support the content I create, there are a few ways you can. You can join us on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us using our affiliate links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or Kucoin. You can buy a merch from HeiseSays. You can use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. Thanks, everyone. I'll see you next time.